these spring type baits we're talking about actually just fall into three categories. You got your hard baits, jerk baits, lipless crank baits, square bills. You know, that's be one main category. Then you got your flash and vibration type baits, like a spinner bait or a vibrating jig, that type of stuff. And then you got your swim baits, you know, and that's a soft bait on a variety of different kind of head shapes that do different kind of things. In fact, in the past few years, in the world of bass fishing, the explosion of soft swim baits and combinations of them have really become popular.
Power fishing can really be as simple as just cast and wind, reel it in and catch fish, and it does work. But there's always, you know, with fishing, there's always little subtle secrets to it. Now what I'm throwing right now is the lipless crank bait, the Rapala Rip and Wrap. This is one of my favorite all-time lipless cranks. And the thing that I love about this bait so much is how versatile it is in covering water, you know. So I can throw this thing up to a foot of water and I'll just keep my rod tip high. There's one right there. Just hammering the little guys, but by keeping my rod tip high and running the reel a little bit faster, I'm able to run the bait in a foot or two of water. Now, if I want to fish this bait deep, I can easily run this bait out into, say, you know, 8-10 feet of water simply by adjusting my rod angle. So if I wanted to fish deep, I'm going to cast it out and I'll just keep my rod angle a little bit lower and I can count the bait down. With lipless cranks too, I'm adjusting the reel a lot of the time, so I'll wind kind of quick, then I'll slow down and I'll pick it up. And that's often how I'm getting that little imparting a little action to the bait. You can also use the rod tip, but I oftentimes just like using the reel. It's a little more subtle, especially in that cold water, just by pausing the reel and maybe picking it up a little more. The fish seem like they like that little just slow hesitation in the retrieve as opposed to using the rod tip to really rip the bait. In the summertime that might be more effective, but still in this cooler water, just a little hesitation on the reel, and that's what I'm doing. Ends up triggering a lot. You can't believe how many times you get bit, you go like that and you feel this tick, feels like something hit a jig. They just love it when it just slightly pauses.
Every one of these style of baits has some little nuances that you can add to it to catch a few more fish. Like if I'm on a swim jig or a soft swim bait of any kind, you know, you reel it steady and all of a sudden sometimes you just kick up speed just a little bit. I'll do it with the reel handle too. You know, get it out. Generally, most of the cast, it's a steady retrieve or one speed that you're pretty comfortable with. A lot of times those bass are following that thing. You could pause and drop it. I'll just occasionally just stop the reel for a second. The jig will stop, fall, touch, and move again. Sometimes I'll just increase the speed just a little. You know, just go, you know, those are those little nuances. Anything that changes the cadence of any of these style of baits is a plus. You know, that's what triggers the fish to bite. Jerk baits naturally got a ton of action into it, especially that shadow rep that almost does a 180 in a lot of cases. So there's a lot of little things you do with the bait. And sometimes the simplest thing, cast and retrieve, is all that you have to do. So